Paul believes in the concept of priesthood of all believers and empowering them. Example, Philip went and baptized an Enoch, and many others went and do the work of God. But the modern churches emphasize that only those who are ordained as pastors can exercise those things. How do we come to terms with it?
I think that part is from Peter, priesthood of all believers, primarily, which Martin Luther and others during Reformation time also they used it. Pastor, in the early days, in the first century, Christianity was spreading like a wildfire. It was a movement. Once it was a movement, every individual who was spirit-filled or had the calling, was enabled by the Spirit, went out and we preached. Nobody asked. Philip did it. Why Philip? Philip was at least a deacon, right? But here the unknown believers of Cyrene and Cyprus were going and preaching. Who founded church in Rome? Common believers on the day of Pentecost who accepted, they went and started preaching. And then problem happens in Roman city, and then Claudius sends them out. Acts chapter 18, verse 1 following. So earliest church had the nature of a wildfire sort of a thing in the dry grass. It just spreads randomly everywhere. Later on, slowly, it started becoming controlled, where church structure started emerging, and pastorals are evidence of that. Slowly, when it started emerging, it started getting limited. Then it became limited to ordination and other things. Well, that is not a wrong and bad, evil practice. Only point is that should not stifle an individual believer from practicing the call of God upon his life. Now, Martin Luther, when he spoke about priesthood of all, he did not deny the position of the clergy class. He was only saying that believers are also capable to do the intercessory prayer and fulfill that priestly role. Intercessory prayer and preaching and those kind of things they also could do. But he never removed that clergy class. Laity never became just like that. So it's a misunderstanding many times that today people have, that priesthood of all means, doing away with the priestly class or the pastors or that. No, that's not the case. Only thing is that they must not stifle the enabling of the Spirit that comes upon the laity to be a preacher. Right. They should not be silenced. But no need of removing this part. That's all. Because that's what in pastoral letters we find. Yeah. They are accepted as presbyters and deacons. They are accepted. Their position is accepted.
But in the New Testament, you say that the church is called as a whole. Everybody has a call.
Exactly.
Everybody has a part.
Exactly.
Not exclusively to the light.
Exactly. But some may have a specific role to fulfill within the church.
Yes.
Let it continue. Yeah. But that should not be a barrier for somebody else to. Yeah. If I am a pastor of a church, I can preach, I can teach. But that doesn't mean that a member of my church cannot preach. And I must say, keep quiet. Yeah. Don't speak. Because only I am privileged to speak. No, that's not.
No, I think this fivefold ministry is to equip the church.
Exactly.
And everybody who is a part of the church, we are all called to fulfill the Great Commission.
Yes.
So we cannot keep it exclusively for the pastors or the fivefold ministry.
Pastor, I believe, and I have written also a little bit, is that, this ministry that we are talking about, the offices in the New Testament, at least in the earliest Christianity, they were not offices. Right. They were functional positions.
Right.
They had not become office as defined today or in the second century. But these were like preliminary stages where some people functioned. Like, for example, in Philippians, you will find presbyters mentioned in plural.
Yes.
How can in one church many presbyters could be there? So that means within one local church, many presbyters could be there. But later on, one church, one presbyter, many deacons.
Right.
That happens later on. So in the earliest evidence that we have from the New Testament is more of functional role, yes, positions, which they were allowed to do that. Other developments are later.